Envy is one of the most toxic emotions that you can feel. And I know this better than most because I used to be so envious of people when I was younger. I could find any reason to be envious. And envy is different than jealousy because envy is when you not only want what the other person has, but there's a part of you that feels like they don't deserve it. That when you see a friend getting ahead or making more money, or they've got a new handbag, or they've got a better car or a bigger house, or they're going on a fancy trip, that you start to feel this toxic emotion called envy. And I'm telling you that if you're somebody who struggles because you feel envious of other people in your life, you have got to get a hold on this because it will corrode you. And the reason why envy is so toxic is because of the edge to it. I've made a lot of videos about the power of jealousy, not jealousy in a relationship, but jealousy of looking around and seeing people that are out there doing things that you're jealous of and using jealousy as a signal to pull you forward. Envy corrodes you. Envy makes you stuck. And the reason why envy is so dangerous is because there's an undercurrent to it that none of us talk about. And this is what it is. When you're envious of somebody else, deep in your heart, you have a belief that because that person got that handbag, or they got that promotion, or they got to go on that trip, that somehow their success, their good fortune, it's robbing you of yours. That there's only so much happiness, there's only so much money, so many trips in the world to go around, and if you see somebody that's doing something that you want, they just took it away from you. So this is why envy becomes so dangerous to you. Because if you live your life believing there's only so much in the world to go around, you are living your life in conflict with the fundamental laws of the way that the world works. When you think about abundance, when you think about possibility, when you think about dreams and success, those are infinite. Abundance means that it is there for the taking for everybody. That there's no limit to the amount of happiness or kitchen renovations or designer jeans or promotions that can go around. And when you allow yourself to live in a state where you're envious of other people, you are living your life believing that there's only so much happiness. And somebody else getting to be happy, somebody else getting to get engaged, somebody else getting to launch that business somehow robs you of yours because there's not enough to go around. You have got to change it. You have got to first and fundamentally believe that there is success, happiness, money, riches, possibility for everybody. There's enough for everybody. That nobody's in competition with you. And that in fact, when you see somebody that has something that you desire, you should be happy. You want to know why? You should be happy because it's a sign that it's possible. It's a sign that it's coming to you. It's a sign that you're on your way. If you allow envy to creep in, you have now aligned your life with the belief that there's not enough to go around. You need to stop that right now. So bottom line, envy, knock it off. It will never help you get what you want. In fact, it's going to keep you stuck and miserable. So do the work to catch yourself when you're feeling envious and remind yourself that if you want abundance in your life, you better start believing that there's enough for everybody to go around, and you better start learning how to be happy for other people. None of us understand what jealousy actually is, and that's why it consumes you and paralyzes you. Jealousy is a good thing because jealousy is a directional signal. Jealousy is a signal that there is something that you desire that you're not working on getting in your own life. And I'm going to unpack this for a second because it's so powerful when you understand jealousy. When you don't understand jealousy, and you think jealousy makes you a bad person, or jealousy, and look, I get a lot of people like, if that's not jealousy, that's envy. I don't care what you call it. You know that feeling where you kind of like somebody has something and then you either don't like them or you want it and then you feel bad and guilty about wanting it, or then you feel defeated because you have it. All of that is what I'm talking about, whether you call it envy or jealousy or whatever it may be, desire that paralyzes you. I used to be consumed by jealousy, Evan, because I was insecure and I did not like myself and I did not treat myself with respect. So I did not believe I was worthy of having good things. And so I would look around and I would see what everybody else has, whether they had a nicer house or they could go on big vacations or they had a bigger bank account or they had a loving marriage or whatever it may be. And I would feel this wave of envy and jealousy consume me. And the interesting thing about jealousy is that a couple things. Number one, if you are prone to feeling jealous, jealousy is not motivating. Jealousy makes you feel worse about yourself and it paralyzes you. But here's the thing I want you to start to flip your mind. I call this flipping it from a jealousy mindset into a high five attitude. If jealousy is just trying to signal you towards something that you desire, then all that jealousy is it is blocked desire. That's it. It's just blocked inspiration, blocked desire. It is blocked by your insecurity. It is blocked by your self-loathing. It is blocked by your fear. It is blocked by your mindset. And so this is why the high five is so important, because that high five every morning clears away the blocks and allows you to connect back with what you really want and who you really are. And so fact number one about jealousy, everybody, it's not a bad thing. It is a good thing because it is a marker on the map of your life, trying to get you to pay attention and turn your life in a certain direction. Number two, jealousy is just blocked desire and inspiration. Number three, jealousy is deeply personal because you can only be jealous of something you actually want. So I'm not the least bit jealous. Right now I'm using this example. I'm not the least bit jealous. Our friend Dean, for example, has this unbelievable mansion in this unbelievable town. And I'm not jealous at all because I don't want to live where he lives, right? So jealousy is personal for you. And so I can tell you, for example, I'm super jealous of all of our friends that have podcasts because I've been thinking about launching a podcast for 7 years. And when I didn't understand jealousy, I would make my jealousy make me feel worse. I would say, oh, Lewis started 8 years ago. I should have started 8 years ago. Now I would just be a copycat. There's all 2 million podcasts. I'm too late. I'm too this. And so instead of leaning toward what I wanted and doing the work, I would use that jealousy to keep me feeling paralyzed and angry. Okay, that's number one. Number two, I'm jealous of Evan. I'm jealous of Evan because he is the YouTube master. He understands the platform better than anybody. And so I would look at Evan's channel and I would cross my arms. I'd be like, I'm so jealous of Evan. And then I'd go, he must have a team of 50,000 people. And like, if now that I understand what jealousy is not a sickness of the heart, as somebody's saying. Jealousy is just literally something blocking your heart. That's it. It's not a sickness. It is literally something's blocked. That's it. It's not good or bad. It just is blocked by insecurity. That's all that it is. And your heart is trying to tell you what you want. I want to understand YouTube. I want to put out more content. There's not enough women on YouTube in the personal development space putting out tons and tons of how-to content and coaching content. And we're about to roll into that space. So get ready in a major way, thanks to Evan's help. But when you're blocked by insecurity, you sit in your corner and you talk yourself out of reaching out to Evan. When you realize this is something you desire, you become more empowered and curious and a student of it, and you feel equipped. And Evan doesn't become somebody that I look at with envy. Evan becomes a light on the path ahead of me, a co-creator in this marvelous life of mine and yours. And so that is the opportunity of jealousy. Honor it. Back in the day, Evan, when, jealousy would consume me, when Chris and I were struggling financially, we had liens on the house. He was out of the restaurant business. I was just starting in the speaking business. We were barely making the ends meet. I would go into somebody's house where they were renovating their kitchen, and I would literally want to self-destruct. Literally. And then we would get back in the car, and my husband, would be in the seat next to me. And instead of, since I didn't understand jealousy, and it feels so awful to feel it when you don't understand it, I would literally turn on me like, why can't you be more successful? Why did you have to? Like, I would literally aim it all at so toxic, my behavior, because I just didn't know. And what I realize now is that I was jealous of like people going on vacations and people renovating their houses, not because I necessarily wanted those things, but because I had so much ambition to go build something of my own. And I was not allowing myself to lean into that because of my insecurity and fear. And that jealousy was like a bell going, wake up, wake up. This is, it's not the kitchen, Mel. You want to build something. Mel, it's not the fancy vacations. You want freedom to be able to take your family places. You have ambition, Mel. Lean into that. Don't make yourself wrong. Like unpack the things that you're jealous of, everybody, because it is an invaluable directional signal. You're meant for something. And you need to unpack what it is about that jealousy. What is it about what Evan's doing that makes me jealous? Well, it's that I feel like he understands it, and he's got this mission, and he's got a cadence about it. And I could be further from the truth, is slapping it all together and trying to figure it out. And I realize that there is an excellence and a methodology with which Evan operates that I'm jealous of, because I have not slowed down long enough to flip into becoming a student and experimenting and turning toward it. But now I am.
When you think of the word ambition, what kind of person comes to mind? I bet you think about the CEO of a startup, or maybe an entrepreneur making millions, or perhaps a celebrity or pro athlete living in some massive mansion, or a visionary who's trying to change the world. Exactly. And that's the problem. If none of those lofty goals inspire you, this video is for you. Society has hijacked the word ambition because we all associate it with people who want a huge title or a ton of money in the bank, or who aspire to change the world. And this is a problem. It's made everyone who doesn't want those things think, am I lazy? Am I unsuccessful? What's wrong with me? First of all, you're not lazy or unsuccessful if you're not driven by money. It just means you have different priorities and values than the ones that pop culture celebrates. And when your dreams differ from what society thinks they should be, that's great, because it means they are your dreams and no one else's. Ambition actually has nothing to do with money or business. It has everything to do with your attitude. Ambition means to be persistent and striving for a goal. And that means any goal. That little ant that's pushing a ball 8 times its size up a hill, that's ambition. The kid who's not giving up on a video game until he clears the level, that's ambition. The violinist who sits in a practice room for hours and hours until she gets the piece right, that's ambition. Ambition means not being a quitter. Ambition means committing to your growth. So if you have a goal, big or small, and you're just plugging away at it, little by little, one day at a time, you have ambition. Ambition is personal, which means it comes in all shapes and all sizes. The thing is when you tell yourself ambition is only for people who are obsessed with money and fancy things or C-suite corner offices, you rob yourself of your own ambition. Today, I want you to reclaim it. And the first step to reclaiming your ambition is seeing your ambition in the little things you do. You have ambition if you made it to the gym a couple times last week and you plan to drag yourself back there again this week. You have ambition if you want to get outside more, so you've started walking your dog for 20 minutes every morning. You have ambition if you've signed up for a class, started meditating, or you're reading more books. You have ambition if helping people is your passion and you're volunteering every week. You're ambitious if you write in your journal every day, if you're taking better care of yourself. You're ambitious if you're getting help to heal your past trauma. You're ambitious if you're simply pushing yourself to grow in ways big and small. Ambition is not the things you accumulate. It's the attitude you cultivate to push you forward in life. So how about we reclaim the word ambition? Take a moment, and I want you to acknowledge it in yourself. No matter where you are in your life, allow yourself to feel proud about what ambition means to you. Forget about your bank account. Forget about what's parked in the garage. Forget about the title on your resume. To find your ambition, look in the mirror. You don't have to commit to changing the world in order to change how you see yourself. Today, change the way you see your ambition. Think about the obstacles you've overcome. Think about how much you've survived and how much you've grown in your lifetime. If you're putting in the work and you're pushing yourself to be a better person, then you, my friend, have ambition.
Hey everyone, I'm Mel Robbins, and this is a question from Ricarda in Germany. She writes, "Hey Mel, I'm a college student, and I highly appreciate your talks. Here's my question for you. How do I get persistence in my life? Some days I feel like I can do it all, and some days I feel like everybody is ahead of me. How do I stop the bad days from outweighing the good days?" Ricarda, thank you for your question, and I'm ripping this up because I want you to understand something. Life is not a race. I'm sure you've heard that cheesy quote about life being a journey. Well, it's absolutely true. You're not racing anywhere. So slow down. Stop looking around at what everyone else is doing and focus on where you are and what's important to you. You asked a question about how do you gain persistence and how do you start to have more good days than bad days. You're going to hate this advice, but it absolutely works. You must come up with a morning routine that you do every single morning, or at least more mornings than not, that puts you in control of yourself and in control of your day. This is what I do, and I cannot explain the power that I get from starting my day off and being bigger than my excuses and being in control. First and foremost, wake up on time. When that alarm goes off, get your butt out of bed. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Why is that important for persistence? The reason why is because the first decision that you're making of the day is to actually get up and get moving. That means you are persistently bigger than your excuses. You are persistently bigger than feeling lazy. And you are persistently beating the feelings that typically stop you. The second thing that I want you to do, before you look at your email, before you answer your phone, before you start surfing Vox and Vice and BuzzFeed and, Teamstream and checking out the sales on Zappos and looking at your Facebook newsfeed, before you pick up the damn phone, please, please, please figure out your 2 priorities for the day. These are the things that matter to you. Whether it's saving money and making sure you're focused on that, or showing up at work and being a contributor, or whether it's changing how you treat your spouse or your kids or the person that you're with, or heck, getting to the gym because you said you would. Whatever it is that your 2 priorities are, put them in your head before you pick up the phone. Why? The reason why is because of persistence. The reason why is because I want you to have a good day. Do you know what makes for a bad day? What makes for a bad day is snoozing, starting your day off late, starting your day off tired, starting your day off by mainlining everybody else's news feed on social media and looking at everybody else's life and saying to yourself, oh my God, they're on vacation, or gosh, they look so great, or their friends are so fancy, or my gosh, they've got so money. You start off your day looking at that shit, you're never going to have a good day. You got to start off your day by getting up on time, figuring out your priorities, and then getting to work on them. Do not pick up your phone until you have done those 2 things. I think the single biggest reason why people have bad days is because they start them off by looking around at everybody else and seeing what they're doing instead of having the focus and the discipline to actually start your day off with you in control and with your priorities front and center. So, you want a bonus round? Exercise every day. That's right. Get up on time, figure out your priorities, and exercise. You do those 3 things, you'll be kicking ass every single day. So the other day, I managed to get to a yoga class 30 minutes early. The reason why that happened was not because I was really organized. It was because my son actually had chorus practice at school, so he had to be at school earlier. So I got to the studio earlier, and class normally starts at 8:45, and I normally get there at 8:44, 8:45, 8:46, right in that zone. This day, a couple days ago, I arrived at like 8:14. And so I go down the stairs to the yoga studio, and I get up to the door, and it's locked. It's dark. There's no one there. The reason why nobody was there is they weren't even open yet. That's how early I was. Now, here's what happened that really struck me. The first thought that popped in my mind, here I was dressed in yoga gear. I got my yoga mat. I got my little journal because I'm going to be early and I can journal on my mat and be all yogi in the studio. The first thought that popped into my mind is, oh, you should just bail. Don't even go. Go across the street to Pete's and have a cup of coffee. Forget this yoga thing. I don't feel like it. I cannot believe how fast my own mind contaminated my thoughts. And I doubt you understand how often your mind is looking around and talking to you and spotting things that are negative and arguing against the things that you know you want to be doing. I mean, it was just a moment. Walk down the stairs, see that it's dark. I don't think, oh, great, I'm the first one here. That means I'll be the first one in the door. That means I can get the spot by the door in the back of the class that I really like. I didn't think, oh, I could sit here and I could journal right here and just wait. I didn't think, oh, I could make a phone call. I thought, I'll bail on this commitment I made to myself. I'll just bail on it. I'll just, screw it. So why am I telling you this? Because our minds are so negative. I don't care how positive you are, and I am an incredibly positive person. I don't care how much mindset work you do. You have to continue to do it over and over and over again. It's not that your mind jumps to the negative and constantly sees the problems and the obstacles in front of you. It's that you don't even realize how often it happens and how often it hijacks you and takes you off course. So it's essential that you're paying attention. It's essential that when your mind talks negative smack talk to you, that you smack it back and you say no thanks, or you insert something positive. And, I actually did not intend for this to be like some sort of video to push you to something, but that does remind me that I did an entire course called Mindset Reset. It's free, by the way. More than 400,000 people have taken it. It's 30 videos. If you want to check it out, you go to melrobbins.com/mindset reset, and we'll email you the workbook and you can watch all the videos for free. I'm not selling you anything. I'm a daytime talk show host, so I'm not selling you a course. But I'm telling you this because even the woman that created Mindset Reset, even the person that is training you on how you redirect your thoughts and do what I call think this and not that, my mind still jumps to the negative. My mind still argues against me, which is why one of the most important things that you need to do if you want to live a positive life, if you want a happy life, if you want your relationships to be stronger, if you want things to come more easily and naturally to you, you have to continually train your mind. So what did I do that morning? I basically was like, shut the up. And I sat down and I opened up my journal and I didn't listen to it. And sometimes that's the most powerful thing that you can do when your mind gets negative. You just tell it to shut up and you move on. I'm not only going to prove to you that a human being can change, I'm going to give you a couple simple things that you can do if you really have something that you want to change, whether it's changing your personality, changing your mindset, changing how you show up in the world, changing how you treat yourself, changing your mental health. I profoundly believe that any human being can change. That's what I profoundly believe. I'm here with Christopher Robbins, my husband of 25 years. Chris, do you believe that a human being can change?
Yeah, I do. I think that...
That's new for you. I'm going to do this. Just look straight ahead.
It is a...
I don't want you to look at the camera. Just look straight ahead. Hi, everybody.
I don't know that I necessarily have always not believed you can change, but I'm not sure I've invested as much time and energy of late thinking about the level to which one can change. And of course, that's what's prompted this conversation, is just my brother and I talking about what our childhood was like, what we grew up with, what our dad was like. And
Which was what?
he wasn't, he had a good sense of humor, but he wasn't real, like, vivacious and
He was not very
gregarious
loving. He was caught up in himself.
Yeah, he was definitely caught up in himself, and like, he wasn't a stick in the mud, but he was a little down.
Okay, hold on a second. I love your dad, and your dad had OCD.
Definitely.
He was way more concerned about the house being in order than hanging out with you guys. And he was way more concerned about what he was working on and his friends than he was about you.
Yeah, true.
And you have used the words emotionally neglected.
Yes.
That your emotional needs were not met by your dad. And in your father's defense, in everybody's parents' defense, most of our parents did not have their own emotional needs met by your grandparents, so they have no idea what they're doing. Now, that doesn't make it right that you didn't have your needs met, or that you were abused, or that you were neglected or abandoned or whatever. But adults and human beings just repeat patterns of behavior that are modeled for them. And I think it's really important to put a stake in the ground and say, I 1,100% believe you can change, every human being can change, and you could be the one that actually breaks the patterns that have been handed down from generation after generation after generation in your family. So you have an opportunity to not only reclaim or claim your life as your own, and claim your personality as your own, and claim your future as your own, you also have the opportunity to break generational patterns of trauma and behavior and parenting styles and all of that stuff, addiction, based on conscious and deliberate choices, decision making, and most importantly, personal development, right?
How important do you think it is, like, to what depth do you need to go to understand the patterns of behaviors that you were exposed to or modeled to, in order to, like, first and foremost, how important is that before you then elect to make the changes that you...
I don't understand your question.
Meaning, like, how much do you study your own mother or father, for
I don't think you need to study them
You
at
don't?
all. At all. No. So do you guys realize that you're always changing? That every cell in your body is brand new over the course of 7 years? That you can change the neural pathways in your brain in real time? You can change the filter in your mind in real time? You can, through practice, you can practice new behaviors and new responses to triggers. And this is so revolutionary. It's incredible. What if your environment is toxic? That's an excellent question. So if your environment is toxic, you need to do a couple things. I mean, it's super simple for people to go, you should just leave your environment. But if you're a minor and you're living in a toxic household, you might not be able to. If you need money and you're in a toxic work environment and you can't just quit because you won't be able to pay your bills.
Half the time you don't even necessarily...
Okay, well, I read about this in my new book. Well, hold on a second. Hold on a second. Hold on. Yes, you do know you're in a toxic. You want to know how you know? Oh, look at this car, guys. Hi. Look at him. Isn't that kind of cool? You want to know how you're in a toxic environment or relationship? It's very simple. Would you high five the person or boss that you work for? Authentically, would you high five them? Not high five them in the hopes that they like you, but would you high five the relationship or the job that you're in because you love it and you believe in it and you want to celebrate it? If The answer is no. You've basically got a couple choices. You can either change how you show up and hope it changes the dynamic, or you can make requests about what's not working and hope the person is motivated to change, or you can get the out. Like, that's it. Those are your three choices right there. There's no other choices. I don't believe in toxic positivity. I don't believe that you just like put a positive spin on things and things will disappear and be fine. That's not how the world works. There are very real challenges that you may be facing. You may be facing abuse, violence. You may be up against structural and systematic racism and bias and discrimination. You may be facing extreme poverty. You may be facing all kinds of very real and traumatic things in your life. Simply putting a positive spin on things will not change those very real obstacles. What it changes is you. When you change how you look at things, it changes your ability to deal with the things in your life. It changes your ability to face hard things, and it gives you the courage and the confidence and the resilience and the stamina to chip away at these large obstacles or these past experiences that created trauma or negative self-talk. It's going to give you the ability to take the action that you need. And so when you hear me talk about mindset, I want you to understand this doesn't make things disappear. It actually empowers you to be your greatest self, to face the stuff that's very difficult. Because confidence, courage, resilience, these are all things that are inside you. And you don't build this stuff in the high moments. You build your confidence and your courage and your resilience in the low moments. It's like steel. It's forged in the fire of your life. And so even in those moments where you feel like life is punching you in the face and you just want to give up and you have that like, I can't handle this anymore and why does this keep happening to me? I am telling you, do not give up, because you are building your inner strength every step of the way through these experiences that you're facing in your life. I'm not saying it's fair. I'm not saying you deserve it. I'm saying you have the power within you to face whatever you're dealing with, to find your strength, and to actually change yourself and the situation and the trajectory that you're on for the better.
Speaking of noise, especially with social media, and I know you're a force for good, positivity out on social media, but there's the other side. I'm gonna be honest, I can't help but look and see like, oh my goodness, I feel like less than if I don't have this, if I don't have that, or I'm not doing this and everyone's doing this and I'm not doing that. And no matter how much I'm going to be honest, like I personally work to, align, stay focused on what I'm doing, love myself, be great. I still get caught up in comparing sometimes and wishing I had something that I don't have, or feeling like I'm behind because I'm not there yet. I'm not where Mel is. I'm not doing this. What is that?
That's being human.
Yeah.
And that is your desire.
Yeah.
Blocked by insecurity. Mm-hmm. So comparison, jealousy, envy, all that stuff where you put yourself in relation to somebody else.
Yeah.
And you use that comparison as a way to invalidate or reject yourself. That is human nature.
Yeah.
And one of the things that the High Five Habit can help you with, because you will never go through a day in your life, I believe, without looking at another human being and going, I wish I was as tall and as beautiful and as healthy as Koya. I wish that I was meditating every day like Koya. I wish that I, was sponsored by Aloe and had all these amazing things that Koya is. I wish I, lived in this incredible neighborhood that feels like a Costa Rican yoga retreat. I wish there's so many things that I don't even have a camera set up like this. So I'm like, I wish I was set up like this, like Koya is. So when you start to realize that all of that yearning, that is what comparison really is about, is desire that's blocked by insecurity. So when you find yourself comparing yourself to somebody else, and you find it to be in the lane of jealousy or invalidating you or comparison, just take a pause for a second and let's flip it with curiosity and let's go, oh, well, what's that about? What's that about?
Yeah.
And the message that I've gotten loud and clear for myself lately is, oh, I want to get off the road. I want to spend more time taking care of myself and practicing mindfulness and creating content. And I want to launch a podcast. And that's why I'm jealous of everybody like you who already has a podcast, already has your ratings, already has a ton of people that listen to this. Already, like, I look at you and I'm like, I'm behind Koya. Here we go. Here's more evidence. No, let's flip it and unpack it. Well, what do I love about what she's doing? What feels like it's right for me? And then what happens is, instead of everybody becoming somebody who's ahead of you in some race, what if the people that you are drawn toward, that either it feels a little like jealousy or invalidation or comparison, what if you could flip it into curiosity and let it go, what is it about what they're doing that actually feels like it's calling me? And what is it about what they're doing, this is important, that doesn't feel like me?
Right. That part.
Yeah, that part.
That part's important.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you go down this huge, long lane that's not for you.
Correct, because you're driven by your insecurity instead of your curiosity. Because curiosity opens the door for your desire to flow through.
Right.
Insecurity locks your desire in a cage. And it eats you alive. Because when you feel like you're losing a race, you're not motivated to take the actions and to take a step toward what you want.
Right.
And so I think when you flip it into, Koya is a light on the path of my life. She's not ahead of me. She is in service of my mission. Because there is something about what she's doing that lights up something in me. And her example is lighting the path I need to walk down.
I love that.
That's the way that I look at you. And I want to say something else. So yesterday we were at our friend Lisa Bilyeu's house, and we have, I feel like I have, at the age of 53, the female friendships that I have always longed for in life. And they're new friendships. And whether it's Amy, who is sitting on the floor here, who is out of reach, who is a new friend, you know, we both moved to Vermont. You know, I mentioned her in the last chapter of the book. Shipwrecked there, thinking we made the worst mistakes of our lives. Or all of our friends, you know, from Glow to Maria to Marie Forleo to Lisa Bilyeu to the Boss Babes to Roddy to just this incredible group of women who, interestingly, were all sort of in the same space of self-empowerment and self-improvement and authors and content creators. I don't feel competitive with anybody. I don't feel insecure. Like, I feel so supported and lifted up. I've never had a friend group of women like this. And what was interesting is yesterday you and I were talking, and you were, just remarking at how awesome it is to see the High Five Challenge going with 100,000 people, 103,000 people as of this morning.
Yes.
From 91 countries, 30,000 comments of high fives and people's putting up selfies and allowing themselves to be seen and supported by this community. It's so exciting. We'll talk more about it at the end of this, and Koya will give you a link that you can follow to sign up for free and take this 5-day incredible challenge. But you said to me, I'm waiting for it to be my turn. Because you're relaunching your book. And I said, when are you doing it? And you said, I'm waiting for it to be my turn. And here's something that I want to say about that. I think that's a beautiful thing if the waiting is grounded in faith that there is divine timing to everything.
Right.
Because I think we put pressure on ourselves to believe that right now or tomorrow or as soon as possible is what you're supposed to be doing.
That's powerful. And I'll tell you why I say that. And I tell you why I feel the same way. I don't feel any comparison or any cattiness or any of that of course, I'm sure you felt before and I felt before. And I think it's because everyone is very secure in who they are and what they have to offer. And I'm going to say this because this is very important. And I'm just feeling it more because I think we're both calling powerful female energy into our life, as well as all of those women that you mentioned. When you are a high powered, high shine woman, I think it's important to know you want to shine your light, but everyone is not going to be on the stage at the same time.
Yes.
And right now, you're on this stage and we're all supporting you and getting behind you and uplifting you. And I think that's really important to call out. And I'm glad you brought that up because I've noticed it's like if everyone's fighting to be on stage, then one, it's not clear because everyone's talking at the same time, you know, but now we're uplifting you and your book and your philosophy. We still got things going on, you know, but I think it's important to know that when you're in a group, how to hold space for other people without it being all about you. And that's what I mean when I say when it's your turn, it's just like speaking. It's like Mel speaks and the next person speaks and the next. And I think it's very important, especially when you're calling in more female, high powered, high voltage relationship is to give everyone their turn.
Yeah. And you know what I was just thinking about is how if you think about the history of time, women always came together to do that, particularly around births.
Yeah.
Supporting one another in your time to bring life to something. And I feel that incredible energy with this group. And it's been so life-changing to be on the receiving end of it that it makes me 1,000 times more excited to be on the giving end of it. But so I wanted to also say, though, that what's interesting for me is that in the, you know, when I think about my life, right? And I think about the fact that we wrote the 5-second rule 5 years ago. And that book never got any press whatsoever. Like literally nothing. There was not a high voltage female energy because I was not secure with myself. I was not attracting shit. I was in survival mode still. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, 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 go. Literally 6 years ago, there were still liens on Chris and my house from the financial mistakes that we made and a business failing 6 years ago.
Yeah.
As I'm on stages around the world talking about the 5-second rule, there are liens on my freaking house.
Yeah.
And so what's been interesting is I have for 4 years tried to write another book. I have tried to force it. I have tried because I felt scarcity. I have tried to just do it. And so when you said that yesterday, that I'm waiting for my turn, it made me realize now that I've seen both the 4 years of frustration when I was trying to force it, it wasn't my turn yet.
That's powerful.
And the resistance and the fact that the thing wasn't coming, the idea wasn't coming, it didn't feel right. Like I literally probably dictated 5 or 6 books in that period of time.
Wow.
Fired by a publisher because I couldn't get anything done. Like just could not happen. And the high five habit, I think again, was a moment where after all of that waiting, which I got myself through. So how do you say, what is this, the phrase you say about affirmations?
Changing your limiting beliefs to liberating affirmations.
Liberating affirmations.
Yeah.
So the liberating affirmation that has really gotten me through these last 5 years is this moment is preparing me for something amazing that hasn't happened yet.
Woo, that's good.
Every time I couldn't come up with something, a publisher's canceling a contract, I screw something up, I stall out, I see somebody else kind of getting the spot that I thought I was meant to get, I get fired from my dream job, whatever it is. This moment is preparing me for something amazing that hasn't happened yet. And it's a way to high five your attitude from that woe is me, it never works out, I'm always failing, everybody else wins, I'm not part of that club of cool people that help each other, like the whole thing.
Yeah.
This moment is preparing me. And I think everybody has been blown away by the fact that how on earth, Mel, were you all of a sudden on 53 podcasts
Amazing.
that released all within the same 3-week window? And I'll tell you why. Because for the past 5 years, I have been on 3.
We couldn't even get publicity for my daytime talk show. And at the moment, I'm like, woe is me. See, I'm the bad news bear. See, nobody, like, even when I have a daytime talk show, I'm such a failure. Nobody wants to actually even write about it. If you Google the talk show, the only article you will find is when Snooki came on the show. That is the article you will find about my show that aired 167 times.
Wow.
And was the number one talk show on WGN in Chicago. And like, that's what you will find. And I now know, and I would say, Mel, don't get yourself all up in arms about Tamron Hall and Kelly Clarkson and Ellen and all these amazing people that you once loved and now hate because they're beating you to what you thought you need. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't go there, Mel.
Right.
This moment is preparing you for something amazing that hasn't happened yet.
I love that.
And you know what it's preparing me for?
Yeah.
The High Five Habit launch.
Wow.
Because that's what God and the universe wanted the world to know about.
How do I overcome feeling guilty for speaking up for myself against my parents? I know I'm in the right, but I can't help but feel guilty having no or little contact, but at the same time, I have way more peace.
Ooh. You know, it's interesting. I'm going to say something that some of you may feel is like completely whacked, but this is a very hard concept. I'm not sure I've ever said this out loud. Just because your mother and father created you doesn't mean that you are obligated to subject yourself to toxic or unhealthy behavior on their part just because they did. So think about it this way. There's almost like two lives that happen. There's the life that got created when your parents created you in the womb, and that was a 10-month period. And then there's everything else that comes after. And this is the life where you're a full participant in. And just because of the first 10 months doesn't mean that you should be excusing, tolerating, putting up with, or sweeping under the rug toxic behavior, dangerous behavior, abusive behavior. And one of the things that has helped me a lot in my relationship with my mom, which has gotten so good over the past couple of years, is I also stopped making her wrong about a lot of stuff. And I started to have a lot of empathy for everything that she's gone through in her life. And so, you know, one of the things that I want you to understand is I think that you owe your parents gratitude and respect for the fact that they created you. But once you get to the part where you're the adult too and you're building your own life, you should not be putting up with behavior that's toxic and behavior that's dangerous or behavior that is destructive or behavior that is illegal or behavior that is racist or sexist or whatever it may be. And, you know, again, your parents will do better when they know better. And they're not going to know better until you tell them. And so the other thing is I think it's really important to not just ice people out, but first have the conversations around what's bugging you to give your parents a chance to adjust. But after that, I'm sure you do feel guilty. And you feel guilty because they gave you life. But that does not mean that you're supposed to put up with behavior that makes your current life miserable. Does that make sense? I don't know if I'm making a lot of sense there.
Yeah, that was really powerful.
I don't know. I feel like I'm going through this right now as a mother because, you know, from 0 to 18, I'm responsible for my kids' development. But my job as a parent is to not create mini me's. The idea is for them to go off and create their own life. And so my job is to teach them how to think and teach them how to treat people and to teach them to put in the work
and to teach them how to face uncertainty, and to teach them how to fail and pick themselves back up and go forward again, and to teach them how to listen to what's true for them and follow it. And 9 times out of 10, all of those lessons require me to give up control and get the hell out of the way. It requires me to allow my kids to pursue things that I'm not interested in because they are interested in it. And there has been a massive experience of learning how to let go, especially with my 18-year-old daughter, or our 18-year-old daughter. And letting go more and letting our kids succeed or fail based on the things that they've learned in years 1 through 17 for us. It's been both the hardest and the most powerful lesson for me. It certainly made me a better parent, and it's also made me a better daughter, because I can appreciate what my parents must be going through and how, look, it's I think human nature to want your kids to be exactly like you. It's human nature to want your kids to want to make the same decisions you make. It's human nature to want you to think that you want your kids to think about the world the exact same way that you do. You want to know why you believe that? Because it's easier for you. Because when your kids agree with everything that you're doing, you don't have to face any uncertainty yourself. It's why we try to control everything our kids are doing. The second that you let go and you honor your kids as adults and you honor them in terms of the decisions that they're making, even though if you're sitting back going, oh, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. The problem is, as a parent, is you're allowing uncertainty into your own life. And I think that's why a lot of us swoop in, especially when our kids become adults, and we try to push them into professions and push them to move certain places and push them to think about the world certain ways. Stop doing that. Just stop. You need to teach your kids how to think for themselves, because they're the ones that are going to have to live with the consequences of their decisions. So you might as well teach them how to do it while they're still under your roof. I don't even know what the question was. What was the question?
How to not feel guilty when setting boundaries with your parents.
Guilt is, I can't remember the really snappy thing that I say about guilt. But guilt is like this, it's like bashing yourself. What purpose is guilt serving you? It's a learned behavior. You're drawing boundaries anyway, so why on earth would you make yourself feel guilty about something that you need to do? You can feel empathy that your parents don't understand why. You can feel commitment to want to help them change. You can feel pride for drawing those boundaries, but please don't feel guilty. If the guilt that you're inflicting on yourself isn't helping you change for the better, stop doing it. Because I think a lot of times feeling guilty is a habit that you learned. Maybe actually, if you're having to draw, so I'm going to now make a couple assumptions. If you're drawing boundaries from your parents, it's probably because there's a very unhealthy relationship there. And I would imagine that one of the psychological tools that your parents used on you growing up is to make you feel guilty. And I bet you also witnessed your mother or your father feeling guilty about things in relation to their families. This is all learned behaviors. And so this is a pattern that's broken, that doesn't serve you, and you need to replace it. So when you start to, do you remember the think this, not that, and anchor thought training? What are those videos, Danielle? Because this is just a pattern. That's it.
Yeah. Think this, not that is 4.
So watch video 4 and watch video 5, the Q&A, because I bet we cover it there.
And then anchor thoughts is 15.
And anchor thoughts is video 15. And what I want you to do is I want you to come up, I think this and that is probably the most powerful training. It's video 4. I want you to come up with something else that you're going to say to yourself instead of feeling guilty. So when you start to think this, oh, I feel so guilty. Why am I doing this? Think that. I can't come up with something right now. Can you come up with something about not being guilty? There's nothing wrong with setting boundaries.
Mm-hmm. I'm protecting myself.
Yeah, I'm protecting myself. Or here's the other thing. If I don't need to feel guilty because I've told them exactly what they need to do in order to not make me wrong.
They're refusing. Instead of I feel guilty, how about, I need to remind myself they're the ones who are refusing to treat me in a way that is powerful. Jealousy is a super important signal because jealousy is just blocked inspiration. That's all that it is. You see, you've convinced yourself that your dream isn't possible for you. You've convinced yourself you're not worthy of it. You've convinced yourself you're too old, or you're too young, or you're too this, or you're too that, or you're not good enough or smart enough, or whatever the hell it is. You've convinced yourself that your dream that was meant for you, that you were born with, that's personal to you, that it's not possible. But you still feel jealous of other people. That tells me that your dream is in the back of your mind and jealousy is your inspiration, only it's blocked by your self-doubt. And so look around and see, who are you jealous of and why? Because there's something in that negative feeling that's an important signal for you. That jealousy is trying to wake your ass up and make you pay attention, that there's something that somebody else is doing. It could be the relationships that they have. It could be their health. It could be the discipline they have in their life. It could be what they do for a living. It could be their lifestyle. There's something about what that person is doing that's meant for you. Now, you're going to do it your own way. But your problem right now is that you're blocking yourself from even pursuing it. So, rule number 1, your dreams never leave you. So accept that as a fact. They've been in there. You're just blocked. Rule number 2, to awaken yourself, look around and notice who you're jealous of and allow yourself to start to follow that jealousy, be pulled toward it, unpack what you're learning about why you're drawn toward what these other people are doing, and start pursuing it and making it your own. That is how you get unstuck. That is how you start to find your dreams. That is how you let the pull of that blocked inspiration that feels like jealousy pull you toward what is meant for you. Those dreams have not left you. You are blocked, and you can change it. So our next question is from Julie, and I love this question because it allows me to kind of take you behind the scenes. She asked, how did you make the leap from being a one-woman show to building out Team Mel and growing your business? This is an excellent question. So the hardest thing in business is to go from being a one-person show to making your first couple hires. Most of us work ourselves into the ground before we're willing to take the time and invest the money in hiring expertise to support you. And you have to. You have to hire people before you think you're ready, before you think you can afford it. Because when you hire people to support you in the administration and the administrative tasks in your business, you expand your capacity tenfold. Now, I waited way too long. So I was a one-woman show for the first year and a half of my speaking business. And in that first year, we booked 47 speeches. And that was great. I kind of fly from one place to the next place, to the next place, to the next place. But then I landed my first big corporate engagement with a corporate client. JP Morgan Chase, their business banking unit, hired me to do like 23 speeches as part of a speaking tour. And it's really different to show up at different events and give the same speech than it is to manage a corporate relationship where you're working with somebody on 23 different events. And that imploded me. I went from a one-woman show to needing to hire support overnight because I basically had a nervous breakdown crying in the arms of my husband. And he was like, that's it, we're done here, we got to get you support. The second thing that's always present in moments where I make just a massive leap in terms of growth in my business, we've already talked about, and that's jealousy. So jealousy is a really important signal, as we've just discussed on the topic of dreams. It's also a really important signal when it comes to business. When you realize that you're kind of jealous of what somebody else is doing, it's typically a really important signal that there's something that you should be adding to your business or considering how to add. And for me, what that was is that I was really jealous of Gary Vaynerchuk. And I got to back up a little bit. Gary Vaynerchuk, if you don't follow him, great person to follow, super interesting, super motivational, world's leading expert, in my opinion, on social media and social media marketing. But what was happening for me as a speaker is I love being on a stage, don't get me wrong, but what I really love is talking to people after the speech. I love it when people come up to me and ask me questions on airplanes, or when I'm checking into a hotel, or run up to me in a hallway after I've gotten off the stage and, want to have a quick one-on-one. I love those moments. And I was starting to get this sense that, wow, all the magic is in the one-on-one conversations. It's not when I'm standing on the stage. Why is nobody else hearing this? And then all of a sudden I saw on social media that Gary and his team were filming these conversations and they were putting them on social media. And I was immediately jealous. And I was immediately frustrated because I couldn't do it myself. So again, here we are. You feel this feeling of frustration because you don't have enough hours in the day and you can't do what you need to do. That's a sign that you need to hire somebody. And jealousy, whoa, they're doing something I want to do, is also a sign that you should try it and make it your own. So I did it. I found a graphic designer and a videographer. I hired them. They traveled with me and we just filmed everything. And 4 years ago, I had maybe 2,000 followers on Instagram. Now we've got over 1.2, almost 1.3 million, simply by following the frustration that there's stuff I wanted to do, but I couldn't do it myself. That means you got to hire somebody. And jealousy, holy cow, that guy over there is doing what I want to do. I guess I better lean into this because I'm inspired by that and I should be doing it too. It's been there, I'm telling you right now, in every single jump. So it was there in our jump on social media. It was there when I got into online courses. It was there when I got into television. It was there when I got into audiobooks. So pay attention to those things. If you're frustrated because you can't seem to get to the work that matters, hire people. If you're jealous, use that as a signal to draw you towards something in business that's inspiring you and go for it. That's how I did it.
First of all, we all misunderstand jealousy.
Mm-hmm.
You think jealousy is hatred. That's not what it is at all. Jealousy is desire.
Mm-hmm.
That's all that it is. And when it starts to bubble up and consume you, and it used to consume me like crazy. I used to be just like that person that you were talking about, Jay. Jealous of everybody. Jay, I hate Jay. Jay has a podcast. Oh, I hate Jay. Jay's been at this longer than, look at all those followers that Jay has. Oh, of course, he lives in LA. Of course, he's got I could just, woo, spin it all. But here's the thing. This is the coolest part about jealousy. You ready? You cannot be jealous of someone or something that you don't truly desire. I'm not the least bit jealous of somebody who has the most extraordinary apartment in New York City. I don't want to live there. It's not meant for me. Jealousy is a clue. It's a directional signal. It's a dot on the map of your life. And the desire is blocked by fear or comparison or insecurity or stress or whatever. And so when you start to recognize, oh, interesting, there's jealousy. Well, I'm jealous of Jay. He's got this incredible podcast. It's reaching millions of people. He's making this huge difference. What is it about that? Is it about Jay? Yeah, no. But really what it's about is I've been wanting to do a podcast forever. So instead of aiming that jealousy out at the world or at myself, aim it into inspiration, aim it into motivation. Recognize and give yourself permission that if you unpack whatever it is that you're jealous of, I'm jealous of their marriage. What is it about it? Is it the fact that they seem to have a date night? Is it the fact that they're really kind to each other? Explore it, lean into it, give yourself permission to have that thing, and then get off your ass and go make it happen. That's it, because here's the thing. Your jealousy is not going away, and it will either continue to consume you, or you are going to blow the lid off that blocked desire, and you are going to empower yourself to start moving toward what you want. That's how you do it. And again, this high five habit is so important because if you stand in front of the mirror and go, I'm too late, I'd just be a copycat, all these people, see, you dumb, like this is what the beatdown is.
Yeah.
If you go, no, you high five yourself, you're like, I see you, you are a little bit later than everybody else, great. They're guideposts on the map of your life.
Yeah.
All these people are your co-creators. Everybody you're jealous of is literally somebody that is running point for you.
Totally.
But you haven't allowed yourself the permission to unpack it and actually question and go on an inquiry that's so rewarding of, well, wow, what is really calling me about this?
Yeah, I think that's so true. And I love seeing jealousy that way. And you said something there was really important that I want people to catch on if they didn't. is jealousy is a tool when you're self-aware. Like you are self-aware. I don't want an apartment in New York. Hence, if someone has a stunning apartment in New York, I don't feel jealous. But a lot of us, our jealousy is just scattered because we don't know what we want or what our dream truly is. So then everyone's dream feels exciting and better than ours. And that's why I think what you said is so true. When people actually can develop a little bit of self-awareness of what is my genuine dream. Because I remember I talk a lot about like when you don't find your purpose, you're jealous of everyone. And when you know your purpose, then you become jealous in your space of your purpose. And at least it narrows it down. Yep. But it's like when you don't know, it's like I could look at a singer and be like, oh, I wish I could sing. Like, oh, I should have had that. Or if and I know I can't sing to save my life. So when I have that self-awareness, I can detach. Okay. Don't need to be jealous of Justin Bieber. I'm not Justin Bieber. That's okay.
Right.
Or like Cristiano Ronaldo. I love soccer. I adore soccer, but I was never good enough to play soccer in for the Premier League club or whatever. So I can let go of that. And that's why I think self-awareness is so important.
It is.
Because otherwise jealousy will just drive you crazy. And I think that's where it starts, that jealousy can be a tool when you actually know yourself.
Well, and jealousy, let's take this a step further, actually can help you know yourself.
Yeah.
Because I think what Justin Bieber and, the soccer player have in common is they are living full out.
Yes.
Their life force is on display.
Yes.
That's what you're attracted to.
Yes.
And so if you were to even take all your scattered jealousy and sit with a cup of amazing tea and calm yourself down and, like we haven't even talked about high-fiving your heart, which is a way to flip your nervous system into a calm state, and map it all out and be like, oh, interesting. All these people that I'm jealous of, that I follow online, that I obsess over, that I like their posts, it's their life force.
Yeah.
It's their artistry.
It's the obsession
thing.
with an
art.
Yeah.
Yes. And so there is a common theme there, and it can help you gain the self-awareness. All right. So here's the thing about jealousy and passive-aggressive behavior from people, because people that give you the silent treatment or are passive-aggressive, those people that give you a compliment, but when you stop and think about it, you're like, wait a minute, were they just actually trashing me? When people do that. When people are passive-aggressive or they give you fake compliments or they give you the silent treatment, typically that's fueled out of jealousy. And jealousy is nothing more than an emotion that people feel when you have something that they feel they deserve. And a lot of us feel jealousy because it's easier to be jealous of somebody and to stay in a negative state than it is to push yourself to do the work to get the thing that you want. And so it's almost like it's your unrealized dream showing up in your face. And what's also right in your face is the fact that somebody else worked for it and you haven't yet. And so instead of going, oh, note to self, time to start cheering for myself and use that example as something positive to motivate myself, a lot of people tend to be like, I hate you. I hate you because you have what I have. So here's what you're going to do when you deal with people that are passive aggressive or jealous. First of all, don't get triggered by it. That's their stuff. It's not your stuff. Second, you're doing the right thing. If people ask, share what worked for you. Third, distance yourself. You don't need to hang out with these people. If you're making positive changes in your life, hang out with the people that are cheering for you. Just because you've known people for years doesn't mean you have to hang out with them for the years to come. So distance yourself. And fourth, if it's really passive aggressive, say something. I literally got an email from a very close friend of mine, and this person had emailed me and wanted me to give advice about SEO, which is how you optimize your website for people to find you when they're Googling you. And the truth is, we don't do a lot of SEO because almost all of our business is social referral, which means that people are coming from social media. And I missed the email. I didn't even see it. I mean, I'm moving 1,000,000 miles an hour. I have ADD. I get at least 300 emails a day, seriously. And I live on planes during the week. And so occasionally I miss an email. So a week later, I literally get an email from this person that was like, thanks a lot. I guess you're too busy to respond. Like completely not even passive aggressive. It was aggressive aggressive. And I wrote back, what the swear word? don't talk to me like that. It's unacceptable. And next time I drop a ball, I have a lot going on, maybe you could just text me and say, hey, did you send the email? So before you get all offended, maybe because of whatever, you're envious of what I'm doing or you're insecure, I don't even know. Instead of lashing out at me, which is unacceptable, try just texting and assuming good intent, assuming I missed the email, assuming I'm busy, assuming I want to get back to you, assuming I'm researching something for you, instead of jumping on somebody because of your insecurity. And so here's the thing. You don't have to accept passive-aggressive behavior, and you shouldn't. People get away with that BS because nobody says anything to them, and it becomes a habit, and it becomes a way for somebody to deal with their jealousy and their insecurity by lashing out at you. And so I think it is fully within your boundaries and within your right, and it should be something that you develop the courage to do, that when somebody says something to you that is a fake compliment, that's actually a bash, or it is lashing out at you, you need to literally be like, unacceptable. Or, hey, I don't know if you meant it this way, but that actually felt like a slam and that's not cool. And if I've done something, say something to me. But you don't have to behave like that. So again, how do you deal with jealousy? Recognize it for what it is. It's their stuff. Number two, don't let it trigger you in terms of making you feel bad about you. Number three, spend less time with that person for sure. And number four, it is fully within your right to say that the way that you just talked to me is unacceptable. Please don't do it again. Please don't do it again. And you'll be surprised, because I find that most passive-aggressive people and most people that act out of jealousy, they're never called out on it. And when you bring it to the light and you call it out for what it is in terms of how it makes you feel, the person's almost always mortified and apologetic, and they tend to change, at least how they interact with you, because they know they can't get away with it. So that's how I would deal with jealous people in your life. And the most important thing, hang out with people that cheer for you. This is so important. I can't say this enough. Behavior is contagious. They have proven this. Google the Framingham study. It was a really famous heart study that was done where they looked at human behavior over what's called a longitudinal study, which basically means they studied people for a number of years. And they found that you catch the behavior of other people. If you hang out with smokers over time, your objection to smoking lowers because you're hanging out with smokers and you become socialized to it, and you are more likely to smoke. If you hang out with happier people, if you hang out with people that are more successful than you, if you hang out with people that run all the time, guess what happens? You become socialized to those positive behaviors. The fastest way to make a behavior change is to hang out with people that are positive, that are cheering for you, that are up to cool stuff, that are so busy and engaged in their life, they don't have time for passive-aggressive bullshit because they're busy building something and being appreciative. And that's who you should hang out with. And that's why I'm here. I'm so happy you're here watching me, because that's who I want to be in your life. I want to be somebody that's cheering for you. I want to be somebody that is demonstrating what it looks like to literally rise above the noise and rise above the negativity and constantly refocus yourself on what's going right. Constantly look on the horizon and don't see what's wrong. Look for solutions. And that's why I want to be the one, in case nobody else tells you, to tell you that I love you, because I know that's what you want in your life. And when you hang out with positive people like me, it's going to rub off on you. When you hang out with positive people that cheer for you like I cheer for you, it's going to rub off on you. And, you know, what I believe is that you can change your life for the better, because you can change what you think about. You can change those patterns in your head, and you can change the small patterns of behavior, and that will change your life. Hey, it's Mel. Thank you so much for checking this video out. And if you like this one, I have a feeling you're going to like this one too. I'll see you there.